Raphael. Just wanted to show you guys the grid on this. I measured it out, and this lines up to the root 7 overlapping increment 3. And the way you can kind of see if he did use this is things are locking in, but you can also check the diagonals, like of the poses, the limbs of the characters. And if we follow this, just pull this aside here, you can see how it's locking in here on the leg, right here too. The arms and shoulders right here. So you can just go along if you want and measure the diagonals, look at any areas locking in, and then you can use a more refined grid to get the finer details and see how things are locking in and aligning. Top of this guy's head here, this guy's arm here. So you can just go around. It takes a while to just go through the whole image and see what's aligning to the grid when it's a refined grid like that. But he's got aspect of view, the limbs are spread here. Same with this. It's helping us identify these subjects. Limbs are spread here nicely. Same with here. Okay, so that's aspect of view. It's got the gamut running through the legs, repeating diagonals. Oh yeah, this was interesting. The head it's got a severed head. That's a common theme in these old paintings, severed heads. So this one, he asked how poster designers could use design techniques, but you can see they're using separated shapes. All the characters' heads, the most important part of the subject, is separated from the other. There's no kissing edges or anything like that. We've got nice separation there. It's got size hierarchy. This movie's about Batman, so Batman's the largest head there. And they have his body fading into the background down here with aerial perspective. See how the contrast is reducing in all these characters and around them right here, just to clearly identify each one. If Batman's outfit was pure black and not reduced in contrast, you wouldn't be able to see this guy's shape as well. Same with this woman. You wouldn't be able to see this area here or anything dark. So they're using aerial perspective to help with that separation and give us nice figure-ground relationship. Same with this. Right here you can see a glow around him. That's to help with the figure-ground relationship. If the car was black, you can definitely tell it would just collide with the black of his coat and we wouldn't be able to see him as well. This one was interesting. With these panoramic photos that you take, you can use the root 9 in this case. The root 8 is a long grid as well. You can use that. But this is a root 9, which is actually 3 squares side by side. I think I'll draw that for you real quick, but just to give you an idea, that's 3 squares side by side. And you can see in this case, this image, you can see that the background hill is paralleling the diagonal. It's also got a nice counterpart. If you take that vertical center line, split the image in half that way, and we've got nice distribution of visual weight there. Same with this one. Got the grid on there, and you can see how the cloud and the waves have the same diagonal as the grid. You can see it repeating in the waves. So this could be captured in a lucky shot, or you can manipulate something like this. You could probably, if you're into manipulating your photos, you could edit the white to be a little bit more straight in certain areas, so it creates that hidden rhythm within the scene. However much editing you want to do. If you watch that Steve McCurry video, you'll see how much he edits his photos, and they're accepted worldwide. Just depends on how you want to do it. This one, at first glance, I just noticed the patterns. He also has aspect of view, and you can see how we have the side profile of the face in each one, but one shows up better than the other, this one, because it's got the orange background and no smaller shapes are confusing the edge of this woman's face. So if you look closer, you can see how her chin area is mixing with these background shapes right here. Same with the lips, it's mixing with the background shapes. So, and then right here too. It's not providing us a clear side profile like the other one. Just something to point out there. But interesting pattern. This one we could tell he's got nice balance, center composition, but he's also got the balance on the left and the right. A basket here, a basket on this side, hand, and then this cloth in the middle, heads in the middle. Nice center composition there. He's also using aerial perspective. You can see nice figure-ground relationship created with the aerial perspective in the background. How the background's in low contrast compared to the foreground, creating nice depth there. Great colors too. This one's Robert Frank. First thing I noticed is the aerial perspective. You might notice the aerial perspective, it's also tilted a little bit to the left, okay? And this guy is the only person looking at us, so he stands out as the main subject. Clearly separated from the background, barely, but he's separated. Nice figure-ground relationship, aerial perspective, nice depth. And I did straighten it to show you what it would look like maybe straightened, but I like the tilted version. It does give a certain surreal vibe with the aerial perspective, tilt. Everybody's kind of walking away from this guy. It's got kind of an ominous feeling to it. This one, interesting photo, great wedding photo. You can also see the arabesque. It's full of arabesques with the cloth flowing in the air. It's got red as the main color here. Red has the ability to grab our attention very well, so the artist is using that to grab our attention. You got aspect of view, got the side profile of the face. Also the arm is positioned so it helps us identify this person a little bit better. The only thing I would have changed maybe is with the person this close to the edge, we're getting a little bit of visual tension there. I would like to see it maybe like that with a little bit more breathing room on the left side here, so it's not so claustrophobic feeling. Great picture though. This is Juan Luna. This is another great image. It's using an overlapping 5 with 30 smaller root 5s inside of it. You can see the aerial perspective they've created. Got nice balance. If you took the vertical center line, you can see they're dividing the contrast from left to right, creating nice balance. And then also they obviously have got the contrast in the middle. Got the dominant diagonal here with the arms going up. It's pretty obvious what the main subject is. He's got the high contrast, he's got red, and then he's got the dominant diagonal of this guy. Caravaggio is using the chiaroscuro method of painting, high contrast, and I selected just the darks, and you can see how much he has here. It's a lot of dark values. Really great image. I think it's Holofernes being slayed by Judith. And I edited out this red. I like the red cloth. He uses it a lot in his paintings, but I wanted to show you how when we take it out, we have more emphasis on the red blood here. When you have two areas of the same color and you want to emphasize a certain area, we're always going to be drawn to the area with more of that color. So if you want to emphasize the blood more, you got to get rid of this red cloth. So this artist is pretty cool concept with the human face with animals and flowers and birds. I like that kind of concept. I do that in my own kind of art with painting and drawing. I love that concept. The only thing is I've done a lot of Photoshop, and unfortunately I can spot different mistakes, techniques, things that work, things that don't work. And I remember going to Paris and watching the Van Gogh light show, and to me it was not as good because I could tell that their Photoshop jobs were kind of not really good. It looked like they just used a layer mask and just blurred out some edges, and his paintings were on the wall and all that stuff. So it could be just me. I'm just really picky with Photoshop work, and I can usually spot it when it's fake, just kind of like you can with a movie. If the special effects are really fake, that's what it looks like. If you watch an old Superman movie, you can tell that their special effects weren't really as good as they are today. So it stands out and it sticks out like a sore thumb. That's what I'm trying to get at. So what I saw with this one is mainly the lighting direction. And we can see that the light is coming on this leopard or jaguar from the right side, but we don't have the same lighting on this woman. If that strong of lighting would be on this jaguar and it's that close to the woman, you'd get a lot of reflective light on her face as well. You can usually look at their eyes to see if the light is coming from the same direction. So right here you can see it's coming, how it's being lit, but then her eyes are being lit from above and the sides. And then I looked at this bird down here, its eyes being lit from the top side. And if this strong light was coming to hit that leopard, it would be hitting the bird in the same way. Same with this bird. This bird is really lit poorly because it's supposed to be edited within her hand, and then it's actually probably a little bit under this jaguar. So there would be a little bit more shadow here on the top of the head, maybe a little bit more on this side since the light's coming from this way. In my drawing course, I talk about the direction of lighting, and I guess perhaps maybe the more you draw too, you'll notice these type of things. But this one, the lighting looks like it's coming from the left side, this flower. You can see the lightest area of this flower is right around here. We've got the cast shadow and the core shadow. underneath here. And then we've got this butterfly on top. It's supposed to be sitting on top of the flower, it looks like, but it would be casting a shadow underneath here, but it's all lit. And then the lighting here, and we've got shadow underneath. So what we're missing is that cast shadow here to kind of sell that situation. But my only suggestion in this is, if you're compositing images, just try, I know it'd be hard to try and find reference photos that all have the same direction of lighting, but you know, you could get lucky. Anyway, try and find the same direction of lighting and edit it in there, or practice drawing and rendering value, and you might be able to find this stuff before it's in a final image. But also wanted to see these images look like they were just blurred out and placed in there. Just something to keep in mind. I had another photo by this artist that looked kind of in the similar way. You can tell the values are a little bit off when looking at the lighting on the lion. So if you look at the lighting on the lion, we see that the sun is setting probably. It's coming from the right side. The face is well lit. You can see this arm here, the leg. It's got that highlight, right? And then all this is starting to go in shadow. So you just got a nice rim light on the leg. Same with here, lit, all in shadow. But when we go around to the edited pieces, we see a lot of different lighting scenarios, especially on these flowers in the background here. Those should be in shadow. Anything behind this lion should be in shadow, because that's what we're seeing on the leg. So all this stuff should be in shadow if the lighting's not hitting it. Of course, we could get ambient light hitting it, but it would still be darker, right? We've got ambient light hitting the back of the lion here, but it's still darker than this front of the lion. So the flowers should follow suit. These should be darker than these flowers in the foreground up here. Also, probably using a telephoto lens, because we've got a really compressed background, really blurry, but the line is focused. But these things up here look like they're just really super sharp compared to this, what's going on in this image. Like this lion doesn't really look that sharp compared to these, like this bird on the top really sticks out. You can tell they blurred this one, this butterfly, blurred this butterfly, which is good, creates that depth, but it just looks like the lighting is just a little bit off, plus this bird. You can see the bird's head right here, same color as this front, but it should look like this lion's leg with the shadow in the background. Should have shadow here, should have shadow here. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're compositing images. The lighting has to be the same with all the images that you're compiling into one.